Let me ask you something today. Is your money buying you freedom or just more stress? Be honest. You wake up, rush to work, check your bank balance, and chase the next paycheck. Yet somehow the finish line keeps moving. You earn more than you used to, but you're still anxious, still tired, still trapped in a cycle that feels anything but free. Most people spend their entire lives chasing wealth, only to find out too late that they've been chasing the wrong thing. Because wealth, in its truest form, isn't just about how much you earn, it's about how much control you have over your time, your choices, and your peace of mind. In this video, we're going to explore 5 powerful wealth laws that redefine success and put freedom back at the center. These aren't just tips, they're principles that can transform your life if you apply them. Let's dive in. True freedom isn't about yachts, private jets, or a 7-figure income. It's about time. It's about autonomy. It's about waking up each day with peace of mind, knowing you're not owned by your job, your bills, or anyone else's expectations. Real freedom means having the power to choose how you spend your time, who you work with, what you work on, and when you walk away. It's not flashy. It's not always visible, but it's the deepest kind of wealth there is. The problem is, most people chase a version of wealth that doesn't lead there. They equate high income with success, thinking if they just earn more, they'll eventually feel free. But earning more without a framework leads to more spending, more pressure, and less control. That's why so many high earners are still stressed, exhausted, and stuck. What you're about to learn isn't a quick hack or overnight trick. These are fundamental wealth laws, timeless principles that create real, sustainable freedom. They work whether you're making $30,000 a year or $300,000. Because they aren't about how much money you make. They're about how you use it, how you structure your life, and how you think. Most people misunderstand wealth because they've never been taught what it really is. They've been sold a version of success based on appearances, not outcomes. But when you understand these 5 laws, everything changes. You stop chasing. You start building. You shift from being a servant to money, to making money serve you. This video is about that shift. From external success to internal freedom, from hustle to control, from stress to clarity. If you're ready to stop grinding endlessly and start building a life that actually feels like yours, then stay with me. Because once you see what real wealth looks like, you can't unsee it. Number 1, the law of ownership. Freedom doesn't come from what you earn. It comes from what you own. This is the first and most foundational law of wealth, and it's where most people go wrong. You can earn 6 figures, even multiple 6 figures a year, and still feel like you're sprinting on a treadmill that never stops. That's because earning a high income doesn't guarantee freedom. In fact, it often creates a more expensive trap. Ownership, on the other hand, sets you free. It gives you leverage, autonomy, and most importantly, time. Let's compare 2 people. Person A earns $200,000 a year at a prestigious corporate job. They've got the title, the nice car, the house with the big mortgage, but they also have long hours, constant stress, and 0 time. Their income is completely tied to their presence and performance. They stop working, the money stops coming. Now, person B owns a business valued at $1 million. It's not glamorous, and they might not even take home as much salary as person A, but they've built systems. Maybe it's an online store that runs on automation. Maybe it's a real estate portfolio that generates cash flow month after month. The key is the business keeps running even when they don't. Person B can take a vacation, spend time with their family, or work on their next big idea, and the money doesn't stop. That's the power of ownership. One is trapped by income. The other is freed by assets. This is where the idea of buying back your time becomes critical. Every dollar you invest in ownership, whether it's a business, a piece of real estate, intellectual property, or stock in a company, is a dollar that can eventually work for you. Instead of trading your time for money, you begin to trade your money for time. This flips the game entirely. Ownership isn't just about making money, it's about removing yourself from the equation while still benefiting from the output. Sam Ovens, the founder of Consulting.com, once said, "True wealth is when your money earns more than you do." That line cuts deep because it reveals the truth about freedom. If you have to show up every day just to keep the engine running, then you don't own your time. Your job does. Even if you make great money, you're still trading hours for dollars. But when you build or buy things that generate cash flow on their own, you're stepping into the realm of real wealth. Ownership also gives you options, and options are the essence of freedom. When you own assets, you're no longer dependent on a single employer, a single market, or a single paycheck. You can walk away from a toxic job. You can turn down clients that don't align with your values. You can take a sabbatical or start a new venture without starting from zero. The goal isn't just to own for the sake of it. Quotes to own the right things. Assets that align with your vision, that scale, and that don't demand your constant attention. So if you want to escape the grind, stop obsessing over how much you earn, and start focusing on what you own. Build equity, acquire assets, create systems. Because at the end of the day, freedom isn't measured by your salary. Quotes thus, measured by how much of your life you truly control. Ownership is the first step toward that control. Number 2, the law of leverage. If ownership is the foundation of freedom, then leverage is the force that multiplies it. In simple terms, leverage is the ability to get more output from the same or less input. It's what allows one person to build $1 million business while another burns out trying to make 6 figures. As Naval Ravikant famously said, "Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the world." That lever is leverage, and understanding it is non-negotiable. If you want to escape the time for money trap, the old model of wealth was linear. You worked an hour, you got paid for an hour. The only way to make more was to work more. But there's a hard ceiling to that approach. We only have so many hours in a day, and even if you charge premium rates, your time remains your bottleneck. It's exhausting, unsustainable, and worst of all, it makes your income fragile. Miss a week of work, and everything grinds to a halt. The new model. The model of true freedom. Is exponential. It's about building systems that separate your income from your hours. This is where leverage comes in. And today there are 4 main types of leverage anyone can use: people, capital, code, and content. Let's break this down with a few real-world examples. Take a content creator on YouTube or TikTok. They spend a few hours creating a powerful video. Once it's published, that video can be watched by millions, generate ad revenue, drive affiliate sales, or lead to a product. All while the creator sleeps. That's content leverage. One piece of work, infinite scale. Now think about a SaaS founder. They invest months, maybe years, building a piece of software. Once it's launched, thousands of customers can use it simultaneously. No extra labor, no extra time. Just scale. That's code leverage. Real estate investors operate similarly, but with capital. They deploy money into income-producing assets like rental properties. Those assets then generate monthly cash flow, often with the help of property managers and systems that reduce their involvement. That's financial and people leverage working together. Here's the key insight. Leverage doesn't just make you richer. It makes you freer. It allows you to build systems that work for you, even when you're not working. It buys back your time, expands your impact, and multiplies your results. And you don't have to be wealthy or experienced to start using it. Beginners today have more access to leverage than ever before. You can start a blog, a YouTube channel, or a newsletter. You can create a digital product, launch an online course, or build an audience on social media. All of these are forms of content leverage. Where the work you do once continues to pay you back over and over. You can also partner with others who bring different skills to the table. Team up with a designer, a marketer, or a developer to build something bigger than you could alone. That's people leverage. You can use no-code tools to automate repetitive tasks, freeing up your time to focus on strategy and growth. That's code leverage. Even if you don't write a single line of code yourself. The bottom line is this: you don't scale freedom by working harder. You scale it by working smarter, by applying leverage to your efforts. Start thinking in systems, not sprints. Ask yourself with every project, can this grow without me? If the answer is yes, you're moving in the right direction. Because real wealth isn't about doing more. It's about doing less. And getting more. Number 3, The law of discipline. Wealth without discipline doesn't lead to freedom. It leads to chaos. And it's a chaos that's easy to disguise. At first, to the outside world, it might look like success. The big house, the fast car, the lavish lifestyle. But under the surface, it's fragile. Because when your spending outpaces your self-control, your fortune becomes a ticking time bomb. We've seen it play out 1,000 times. Lottery winners who go bankrupt within 5 years. Athletes who make millions only to end up broke after retirement. Celebrities who earn more in a month than most people make in a lifetime. And still lose everything. The problem isn't that they didn't make enough. The problem is that no amount of money can save you from a lack of discipline. Discipline is the invisible framework that holds real wealth together. It's not glamorous, and it doesn't show up in Instagram posts. But it's the difference between someone who gets rich once and someone who stays wealthy for life. At its core, discipline is about making decisions today that benefit you tomorrow. It's budgeting when you'd rather splurge. It's investing consistently, even when it feels slow. It's saying no to things you can technically afford, because you're playing a longer game. Financial freedom isn't built through one big windfall. It quote says, built through thousands of small, smart choices made over time. One of the most important habits you can build is awareness. Especially around lifestyle creep. That's the phenomenon where your expenses rise in step with your income. You get a raise and suddenly you need a nicer car, a bigger apartment, more dinners out. Before long, you're back in the same financial pressure you started with. Just at a higher level. The secret is learning to hold your lifestyle in check, even as your wealth grows. Live below your means, not because you have to, but because it gives you options. The goal is not to deprive yourself. It's to protect your future. Investing is another arena where discipline separates the free from the frustrated. It's easy to get excited about crypto in a bull run or chase hot stocks when the market is booming. But real investors stay consistent. They dollar cost average. They think in decades, not days. They don't panic when the market dips, and they don't throw everything into the latest trend. They follow a plan. They understand that time, not timing, is what builds true wealth. Financial literacy is also part of this law. You don't need a degree in economics, but you do need to understand the basics. How interest works, how taxes impact your income, how to read a simple profit and loss statement. Because if you don't understand money, you'll always be vulnerable to someone who does. Discipline without knowledge is blind. Knowledge without discipline is useless. You need both. Here's the truth. Discipline is the price you pay for long-term peace. It's the quiet work behind the scenes that gives you the power to sleep well at night, to make decisions from a place of strength instead of desperation. Most people want freedom, but they don't want the structure that creates it. They want the results, but not the rules. But freedom isn't found in indulgence. It's found in self-control. In knowing you could spend more, but you don't. In knowing you could have more now, but you choose to build for later. That's the kind of discipline that creates not just wealth, but the kind of life where you never have to run on a treadmill again. Number 4, the law of purpose. Money without purpose is empty. It might sparkle on the surface, but underneath, it becomes a trap, another prison, disguised as progress. So many people work tirelessly to accumulate wealth, only to arrive at the finish line asking, now what? They thought money would give their life meaning, but all it did was magnify the absence of it. That's why the law of purpose is essential. Because without a clear reason behind your pursuit of wealth, you'll either burn out chasing more or get everything you wanted and still feel nothing. Purpose gives money direction. It makes it a tool, not a tyrant. When you know your why, money serves your vision. Instead of becoming the thing that blinds you from it. We've all seen the stories. The executive who retires early, only to fall into depression. The tech founder who cashes out, then spirals into a crisis of identity. The celebrity with fame and fortune, who still feels alone. They had everything people dream of. Status, income, options. But because they never clarified what they were really working for, Their wealth became weight. On the other hand, look at people who tie their wealth to a mission. Entrepreneurs who build companies to solve meaningful problems. Creators who use their platform to educate, inspire, or uplift. Investors who focus on generational impact, not just short-term gain. These people use money like a fuel source. People something bigger than themselves. And because of that, they don't just feel rich, they feel aligned. Purpose doesn't have to be some grand world-changing mission either. It just has to be yours. Maybe it's creating a better life for your kids. Maybe it's having the freedom to travel and experience the world. Maybe it's building a business that reflects your values. The point is, if you don't define your purpose, society will define it for you. And that usually looks like consumerism, status games, and working yourself to the bone for things you don't really care about. So here's a question worth sitting with. What would you do if money were no object? Seriously, take a breath, clear your mind, and ask yourself, if your bills were paid? If you never had to work for a paycheck again, how would you spend your time? Who would you help? What would you build? Where would you go? Most people have never truly considered that question because they're so consumed with survival. But freedom isn't just about having time or money. It quote, how about knowing what to do with both? And the earlier you clarify your answer, the easier it becomes to design a life that aligns with it. When you have a strong sense of purpose, your financial decisions change. You spend less on things that don't matter. You invest more in things that do. You build with intention, not impulse. You stop comparing yourself to others because your path isn't about status. It quote, says about meaning. And meaning is the only thing that can carry you through the highs and lows of building wealth, because there will be setbacks. There will be doubt, boredom, and moments when it all feels pointless. But when your vision is anchored in purpose, you keep going. Not because you have to, but because you want to. So before you chase the next promotion, the next investment, the next shiny opportunity, ask yourself what you're really building. Ask yourself what kind of life you want to live and what kind of legacy you want to leave. Because money is just a tool. Purpose is the blueprint. And without that blueprint, you risk waking up one day with everything you ever wanted, except the one thing that makes it all worth it. Number 5, the law of adaptability. If you want to stay free, you have to stay flexible. The world is changing faster than ever, and the people who cling rigidly to what worked yesterday are the ones who get left behind tomorrow. We've seen it across every industry. Massive shifts in technology, economics, and culture that reshape how we live, work, and build wealth. What gave you an edge 5 years ago might now be irrelevant. A secure job today might be gone in a year. The rules are being rewritten in real time, and the people who thrive are the ones who don't just chase stability, they build adaptability. Adaptability is the hidden superpower of the truly wealthy. It's not just about being smart. It quote, it's about being open to change, open to learning, open to the idea that you might need to reinvent yourself more than once. Wealthy people, real wealthy people, stay students. They don't pretend to know everything. They stay curious, stay humble, and stay alert. They read, they experiment, they surround themselves with others who challenge their thinking. And when something new emerges, like artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, or remote work, they don't scoff or resist. They lean in, they explore, they ask, how does this affect me? How can I position myself for what's coming next? Think about how quickly the rise of AI is reshaping the job market. Tasks that once required human time and attention are now being handled in seconds by intelligent systems. White-collar roles, copywriting, data analysis, even parts of legal and medical work, are being automated or augmented by tools that didn't exist just a few years ago. This isn't science fiction. It's already here. And the people who refuse to adapt will find themselves replaced, while those who do adapt, by learning to work with these tools, by building businesses around them, or by pivoting into new skills, will thrive. The same goes for remote work. The traditional 9-to-5 office model is fading fast, and those who cling to old definitions of job security may find themselves stuck in shrinking opportunities. But those who embrace location independence, digital entrepreneurship, and flexible lifestyles are building wealth that matches the future, not the past. Even investing has changed. It's no longer just stocks, bonds, and real estate. Now we have decentralized finance, NFTs, tokenized assets, and new forms of digital value. Are these things risky? Of course, but so is staying blind to them. Adaptable wealth builders don't blindly jump into trends, but they also don't ignore them. They study, they test, they evolve, because the real risk isn't trying something new. .it quote, "So refusing to grow while the world moves on without you." The key idea here is this: don't just build wealth, build resilience. Resilience means you're not dependent on a single skill, a single stream of income, or a single worldview. It means you can adjust, pivot, retool, and rebuild if you need to. It means you're anti-fragile. Every challenge makes you stronger. Every disruption makes you smarter. The world is not going to slow down for anyone. So the question isn't, how do I find safety? The question is, how do I stay fluid enough to remain free, no matter what happens? If you want to thrive in this new era, commit to constant growth. Stay uncomfortable. Keep learning. Be willing to drop outdated strategies and adopt better ones. Because the truth is, the path to freedom isn't fixed. .it quote says dynamic. The people who win long-term aren't the ones with the most rigid plans. They're the ones who evolve. And when you build your wealth on the foundation of adaptability, no market crash, no tech disruption, and no global shift can take your freedom away. So let's bring it all together. The 5 wealth laws that create true freedom aren't just financial tips. They quote a mindset, a framework for building a life that actually belongs to you. First, the law of ownership. Because freedom doesn't come from what you earn, but what you own. Second, the law of leverage. Using systems, tools, and people to multiply your output without multiplying your time. Third, the law of discipline. The daily habits and decisions that protect your wealth and give you peace, not pressure. Fourth, the law of purpose, because money without meaning is just noise. And finally, the law of adaptability. The ability to evolve with the world so you never get stuck in a version of success that no longer serves you. These laws aren't just for the rich. They're for anyone who's tired of trading time for money. Anyone who wants to stop surviving and start designing a life with real freedom at its core. Because the truth is, wealth is a mindset. It's not about chasing more. It quotes about building better. It's not about appearances. It quotes about options. Real wealth is when you can say no, when you can walk away, when you can choose your days, your work, your priorities. Your life. That's the kind of wealth these laws lead to. But it doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you start applying them. Right now, exactly where you are. So if you want more than just money. If you want real freedom. Start applying these laws today. Start with one. Start small. But start. And if this video sparked something in you, if it helped shift your perspective or gave you the clarity you've been looking for, don't forget to like it, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button. That's how we keep bringing you content that matters. And if you're serious about this journey, check out the link in the description for our free resource, a step-by-step guide to applying all 5 wealth laws in your life. Or dive into the next video, where we break down how to create multiple income streams without burning out. Your freedom isn't just a dream, it's a decision. Make it today.